So far, we have a full set CRUD functionalities in our API, but the missing piece is how to ensure that the incoming data is valid or meet our requirement. So let's do that right now. Here in store method, let's replace this with our validation. To validate the incoming data, we can utilize request helper function and then add validate method call. This method receives an array contains column name that is going to be validated with its requirement. So here, for name column, it's gonna be required. Let's also set the minimum character for the name to 10 and maximum character length to 255. Feel free to adjust the number with any number that you like. For price, it's gonna be required. Then it should be integer. You may also use numeric, which allow you to enter a floating point number, but in my case, I'll choose integer because I assume that the price column will store cents instead of dollar. Here I'll also set minimum number to 100 or equivalent with $1. Next, for category ID, it's gonna be required, and we'll also add exist categories. This will ensure that the value for this column must exist on a given database table, in this case, categories table. Here we also need to specify the column name, in this case ID. If we not specify this column, category ID will be used. Alright, I think that's all we need for now. Let's keep this a save and have a look. Here, I have saved the test request behind the scene. If you're new on Postman, you can do that by firstly create the collection, go to test request, hit save button, change the request name, select the collection, then hit save to collection. Go to start product request, and here in body, let's try to remove the name. Then hit send button. Here we'll get 200 status, which is unexpected response. And it's a Laravel welcome page actually. Okay, to fix this, we need to go to headers, then add except the value is gonna be application JSON. Let's hit the send button again. Alright, now we'll get back unprocessable entity, which is the expected response, and we can see the validation error message in here. Let me undo the change, and now I'll set the name's value with no more 10 characters. Here we get different error message. Here I'll set the price to decimal number. Then for category ID, I'll set it with non-existing category ID. Let's say 100. If I now hit the send button again, okay, here I get 3 error messages. And I think our validation error is working as expected. Alright, let's switch back over to our editor. Note that validate method will return an array which is data that has been validated. So, if we assign into a variable data, then return it here. So, if we save this, back to Postman, enter valid product, then hit send button. Here we get back the product that we've entered. So here, we can now remove these lines. This is less typing. Let's give this a save. Back to Postman, then hit send button. Okay, here we get the exact same thing as before. Let's implement validation in update method. Here, since we'll need to have the same validation rule in both store and update, we can move this stuff into dedicated method. Let's define a new method. I'll call it validate request. Paste the code, then add return. Back to store method, then call this validate request. Let's copy this line, then replace these lines. Alright, let's give this a save. Back to Postman, go to update product. Let's try to remove the name. Hit send button. We need to add except application is on here. Send. Okay. Okay, it's working as we expect. Alright, we have implemented validation in our API. This will ensure that incoming data that will be stored in database is valid and meet our requirement. If you want to see more detail about the validation, you can check out this link.